So, last night, Politico leaked that this decision by Samuel Alito has a majority support and is going to strike down Roe versus Wade. The leak is an unbelievable breach of every ethic the Supreme Court has ever.
Yeah, that's the worst thing that happened. The absolute worst thing that happened in this news story is the leak. Nothing else. Please, dear God, do not focus on anything else. Just think about the leak. Do not think about the implications of what will happen. Do not think about the many times that the Supreme Court justices lied on record saying that they were actually going to maintain Roe v. Wade as a super president. Do not think about the top of the hour ad break. Do not think about that. Go, dear God, do not.
Ever held on to. It's insane. I mean, it's a crazy, crazy thing. Here's what Politico wrote. The Supreme Court has voted to strike down the landmark Roe versus Wade decision, according to an initial draft majority opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito, circulated inside the court and obtained by Politico. The draft opinion is a full-throated, unflinching repudiation of the 1973 decision, which guaranteed federal constitutional protection.
Oh, shit. Okay, there it is. Happening now in downtown Austin. Hundreds of protesters are taking to the streets outside of Texas Capitol following the leaked opinion draft from the Supreme Court regarding Roe v. Wade and women's rights.
Right, you take up that street.
It's already happening. It's already
of abortion
popping
rights
off.
and a subsequent 1992 decision, Planned Parenthood versus Casey, that largely maintained the right. The fact that this was leaked is insane. No draft decision in the history of the court has been disclosed publicly while a case was still pending, according to Politico. Never. And it dramatically undermines the legitimacy of the court.
Oh, no, no. What will we do? The dramatic undermining of the legitimacy of the Supreme Court. No.
Love you, Hassel.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, no. Fuck you, you fucking bitch. Who gives a fuck? Suck my dick. Anyone who tries to tell you, like, oh, my God, the institutions are infallible institutions. That is just straight lib shit, okay? These institutions are supposed to work for all of us. And the moment that they stop working, and the moment that they start operating in this incredibly partisan, in this hyper-partisan way, working as an apparatus for the Republican Party to look like they are successfully abiding by the wishes of some of the most psychopathic but active voter bases that they have, it's over. Throw it in the fucking trash. Fuck the Constitution. It's just a piece of paper. You can wipe your ass on it. Maybe you'll get paper cuts, but it does not matter. These ideas are fake. They're made up. The only reason why we care about them in the way that we do is because other people have told us we need to care about them. Of course, conservatives could not stop. They couldn't even keep up the facade that these institutions are just bullshit. They had to take it one step further. They had to also act out the desires of some of the most psychotic, unhinged, insane Republican voters in this country that do not represent more than 30% of the entire country, entire nation's attitude. And if you do that, then people, of course, are going to think to themselves, like, well, fuck this shit.
Democrats are already saying, well, we should just kill the filibuster and we should pass a federal law enshrining a right to abortion.
For the record, and I want to point this one more time because probably this is going to appear in a YouTube video. Say hi, everyone in the chat on the YouTube video. The idea that the filibuster needs to be maintained is a silly one. I do understand that, Republicans will go buck wild when they're in a position of power. But the only reason why Ben Shapiro can basically have this take about protecting the filibuster is because Republicans have completely given up on even legislating through the Senate. They have already relegated all matter of legislation to the state legislatures, which they dominate through gerrymandered districts. They've completely overtaken state legislatures all around the country, so much so that they can get away with passing legislation at the state level, for example, that dictates that even if there is a Democratic majority of votes, like they could technically overturn it at the state level, like really crazy stuff. We saw this already earlier this year with the efforts that they took towards protecting voter security, another thing that like only 30% of the country believed. So they are very good at, one, undermining Congress and the legislative branch when it comes to still pushing for a legislative agenda that completely overrides Congress, okay? The other way that they do it is through the court system, obviously. As you've seen, the Federalist Society is a group of activist judges that specifically are plucking and picking law school students, basically setting them up for a career so that they can become the next Brett Kavanaugh. So Ben can say, oh, they're trying to take away the filibuster or whatever without worrying about it. But if you think for even a brief moment that Republicans needed to destroy the filibuster to get some kind of initiative passed, some kind of some legislative agenda item that they needed to pass, and they needed to destroy the filibuster for it, they would do it. They would do it in a heartbeat because they want to win, because they want to, at the very least, like do something for their audience, do something for their fucking voter base. Whereas Democrats, on the other hand, despise their actual voters. And that comes across in every time they speak. Every time a Democrat's like, shut the fuck up and vote, dumbass. What do you want? Look at how horrible the Republicans are. You need to vote for us. At a time when like they already hold the majority in the House, the majority in the Senate, and the White House, when they turn around and say, you got to vote harder, idiot. You got to vote harder, stupid. Give me some more money, fuckface. Look at how bad the Republicans are. You're basically admitting that like you resent us. You don't care about us. You don't care about what we want. At this point, we're just voting for you for the sake of voting because you're not a Republican.
That isn't going to happen, but that is what the call is from the left side.
I mean, he's right. It's
that
not
was the
going to
purpose
happen.
of the leak.
He already knows
the leak
that.
is deliberately made in order to put these Supreme Court justices in danger and to jog Democrats to go ahead and pass some sort of federal law, making abortion the law of the land from the federal legislative level. That's what this was designed to do. The person who did this should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, to the extent that they've broken the law. You would imagine that this is a leak of certain classified information.
What law? There is no law. They're just like making it up. At this point, they don't even have anything. They're just like, they don't even need to have something. They're just like, it's the law of violating my feelings. That's the law. It's not nice when they do this.
And it could theoretically be criminal. It should be referred to the FBI and the DOJ for full-scale investigation. Now, the left, of course, will make the leaker the hero of the republic. As we know, the left is perfectly fine with illegal leaks so long as those illegal leaks cut in their favor.
I mean, that's the same as Republicans, though. Isn't that literally what you're saying about Hunter Biden's laptop or whatever? Like, yeah, no, that's the truth. Yeah, liberals only care about leaks when it favors them, and Republicans only care about leaks when it favors them. You're not making like a cool point here. Like, I'm a fan of leaks across the board. I think it's more important for us to actually prosecute what is being found in the leaks rather than prosecute who's doing the leaking. Right. But other than that, most people don't care. Like, most people are just like, yeah, I only care about leaks when it's, benefiting my side.
They're not a fan of totally non-illegal leaks, like, say, Hunter Biden's laptop, but they are a very big fan of illegal leaks that harm Republicans. When it comes to a leak like this, you will imagine that this will be treated as heroism by the left. But the bottom line is that this sort of leak dramatically undermines the court. No question about it. And it is designed, once again, to bring pressure on Supreme Court justices.
I mean, I hope it does bring pressure on Supreme Court justices. But what I certainly don't care about is the integrity of the Supreme Court. As I said already, they are the ones who are destroying the integrity.
Which just demonstrates, for the left, the rule of law doesn't mean crap. They don't care about the rule of law. They never have cared about the rule.
But you don't either. Like, what does this fucking take? They don't care about the rule of law. Like, what is law? Law is meaningless, okay? Set of rules that we all decided was like the best way to fucking run society. What do you mean? Oh, they don't care about the law. This has nothing to do with the law. You already demonstrated, despite your Harvard law degree, that you don't know anything about the fucking law because you're just lying and claiming that this is a violation of the law. What law? But even if there was a law, I wipe my ass with that law, okay? I'm fucking pro-leaks.
Democrats are shrieking to the heaven, rending their garments, wailing, wearing sackcloth, pouring ashes upon their heads over the possibility that this issue is going to be returned to the states. They're saying this is the death of democracy.
Yeah, oh man, how crazy that, in a country where 18 states already have trigger laws that immediately criminalize abortion in the, at the time, unlikely event that Roe v. Wade is overturned, liberals are being so crazy about this. Oh man, of course they're going to freak out about this. This is the one instance where it makes sense that libs are fucking in a state of panic. He will never understand this. He just won't. Unfortunately, he will never understand it. There will never be a fucking, law that makes it illegal for annoying little shitheads to fucking constantly run their mouths, okay? Despite my best interest and despite my best efforts, I keep calling my congresspersons, okay? I keep calling them, I keep sending them messages, I keep sending them emails, and yet not a single one will pass this fucking legislation that makes it illegal for annoying, smarmy little shitbirds like Ben Shapiro to fucking constantly run their mouths, okay? I'm trying my best!
Democracy. Just a quick definitional point. When voters get to vote on things, that's democracy. So the Supreme Court saying that voters now get to vote on...
Yeah, dude, totally. That's really cool, except, not a single, and I said this already on Twitter, not a single state has more than 30% support for fucking banning abortions. But it doesn't matter. And he knows that. That's what the worst part about this argument is that it's just more democracy. No, you fucking asshole. Half of those states do not have a ballot measure provision. Like, you can't put it on a ballot directly so you can have something similar to a referendum to whether or not you can protect abortions or not. If that was the case, they probably would. It would be a gangbusters initiative because the overwhelming majority of American people in all of the states, including red ones, believe that the government should stay the fuck out of women's pussies, okay? This doesn't even mean, okay? This doesn't even mean that you can't be pro-life. That's your own prerogative, okay? You can be pro-life individually. No one's gonna stop you. But if someone wants to have an abortion, a medical procedure that is incredibly safe, okay, which 90% of which happens in the first trimester, you literally go to the doctor says, oh, you're pregnant, by the way. You say, oh my God, I want to have an abortion, thank you. And then the doctor's like, here, take this pill. And then you literally have a heavy flow period, and that's it. Then they should be able to have that. It is completely fucking psychotic to be like, no, the government should stop other people from doing this.
When it comes to the states, that is where the issue is going to be solved. That is where the issue is going to happen. And what that's going to do on a political level, and this is a very good thing, it's going to lead to a continuation of the big sword. Now, there are a lot of people who are worried about the polarization of American society. You know what polarizes American society? When every issue has to be solved top down. That's what polarizes American society. What polarizes American society on the federal national level is when I feel like my life here in Florida is being controlled by people in California.
Dude, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You can't simultaneously talk about like abortion bans at the federal level while salivating and then turn around and be like, actually, there should be no federal laws that hurt my feelings. You are such a hypocritical piece of shit. How the fuck does anybody who may even question what his integrity is ever watch Ben Shapiro and be like, wow, this is a man of honor? He has so much integrity. It's crazy. He literally just said he wants fucking some kind of control over abortion at the federal level, and then turned around and was like, oh, it's actually more polarizing when you tell me in Florida what I can and can't do about abortion.
When people in California feel like their life is being controlled by people in Florida. When I feel like there's a giant government
like
gun.
Notice, I can't get over this. Like, notice how he took for granted. Like, he just straight up took for granted and made it seem like, people in Florida, the majority of people in Florida would be, for banning abortions and criminalizing abortions. That's not the case. That's not. You just made that up. You are just doing that right now. You're just, where did you get that? Where'd you get that from? You grew up in fucking California your entire goddamn life. Now you're LARPing as a fucking Florida man. I'm a real Florida man, okay? That's the first place I fucking landed on the United States of America, okay? It's the first place I goddamn lived, you bitch. Most Florida voters oppose abortion bans, polls show. Oh, there you go. I didn't even, thank you for fucking finding that. I didn't even have to search for it. There it is. Agreed with Roe v. Wade, 68%.
That is pointed at me and my children by people who I don't live near and who don't care about my priorities and who disagree with me. That is a problem. The founders understood this, which is why they created a federalist structure whereby most law was done at the local and state level, not at the federal level. What the Supreme Court is doing is now returning.
Yeah, that was such a great idea. That's why the Civil War happened,
The issue that is the most contentious issue in American life back to the state and local level for regulation, where it should be. Barring on a constitutional legal level. On a moral level, I'm a believer that there should be a constitutional amendment to protect human life in the womb. But barring that, the system provides for the states and the localities to make these decisions. And the fact that the Supreme Court is now abiding by its own role in interpreting the law rather than just imposing it top down. The fact that the left finds this shocking or upsetting is amazing to me. And again, they keep saying things like, well, the people aren't with it. The people, well, now.
Bro, it doesn't matter. You already know that the entire system is designed to fucking completely avoid what the democratic wishes of the people is. Shut the fuck up.
Now we're going to get a chance to find out.
We're never going to find out. There's no democracy. There's no democracy in this country. And as a matter of fact, whenever someone correctly points out that there's no democracy in this country, you say, well, technically, it's not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. I fucking hate him. He's so stupid. He's not even fucking smart. I'm an idiot. And for some reason, everyone that fucking listened to this asshat is way dumber than me. How the fuck is that even possible? I forget what day of the week it is. Half the time.
You liked it when the Supreme Court was doing your priors, when the Supreme Court was imposing its will top down. Again, the logic here is just insane.
There is no logic.
I'm reading Twitter, and some of these people... So Ian Bremmer tweeted, I'm conflicted on abortion as someone raised Catholic, anti-death penalty, who doesn't think there's a definitive answer on when human life begins. By the way, there is a definitive answer on when human life begins. It's at conception. There's no other science.
What? Where? What is the scientific basis for this, dude? Life begins at conception. That's not. You just made that up. It's like toilet paper. That's how relevant it is in this situation. It's just religion. Like, oh yeah, source. I made it up. Source. God made it up before me. You can't take a incredibly complex philosophical argument and then turn it into, you know, a definitive truth because your God says it is. I'm not even going to do that classic, like, I thought religion and state was separated. It's just not. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this country. I hate Ben Shapiro. I hate Ben Shapiro's followers.
Scientific definition.
It literally is just like reducing the concept of what it means to be a human. A concept that, like, you know, philosophers have endlessly argued on and saying, well, it's well established. It's well established where? In my mind, because I believe it. So it is the case.
Because I think it should be a woman's decision. It's tragic the Supreme Court is taking that away. They're not taking that away. They're leaving it up to the voters of the particular states. And by the way, the notion that the only choice in a woman's reproductive life is the choice to abort is crazy. That's a crazy lunacy. There are a series of decisions that women make throughout their lives about reproductive choice. When to have sex, when to get married, when to use contraception, when to get pregnant. The baseline idea, I mean, by the way,
why is he making it seem like women are literally, every time you fuck, you're going to get pregnant? That's what it is? I mean, that's a self-report. Like, you only believe this if you legitimately believe what Ben said here is the biggest self-report of all time, which is that you only believe this if you think, like, you know, sex is only with the express purpose of having a child. It's the only time. It's it's not a consensual act that two, like, loving adults that care about one another can ever engage in unless they literally want to have a kid.
There are a series of decisions that women make throughout their lives about reproductive choice. When to have sex, when to get married, when to use contraception.
A reproductive choice you make is when to get married. Dude, that's awesome.
When to get pregnant. The baseline idea.
So what happens when, you know, they didn't make that conscious decision and it happened? Like, does this motherfucker know how pregnancies happen? Like, does he think that Ben Shapiro's never fucked? I'm now convinced. He made it seem like, well, one, his doctor wife, by the way, he has, you know, talked about how, you know, if my doctor wife was wet, then that would be a medical condition. Okay, so that was one. That was my first inclination that he's never fucked. But now he's making it seem like you press a pregnancy button as a woman and then boom, you're pregnant. Everyone knows, hypothetically, when your doctor wife wants to have a child, she makes the reproductive decision to have a child and presses a button that's called the pregnancy button. Take your finger and you press your belly button like this. And then before you know it, your doctor wife goes away and then comes back after a long weekend and she's pregnant. Hypothetically, this is how it works. And then she's smiling for the first time for months on end, as a matter of fact, until she, of course, remembers that she is living next to me.
I mean, by the way, the left is giving away the game when they treat abortion this way. It used to be they treated abortion as sort of an evil that you had to tolerate because there were certain situations in which the baby was malformed or in which somebody was raped or was an incest case or these are difficult decisions. Now the left just...
But, like, why? Why? If you believe that life begins at conception, then who cares? The morally consistent position in that circumstance is that life is life. All life is sacred. No matter what, it's still a real baby inside of you, and that pregnancy should be carried to term. But the reason why conservatives don't want to make that concession, for the record, okay, is because they understand that would be fucking psychotic. That would be psychotic. That'd be insane. Some of them go that far. They live in Alabama. Ben is too much of a fucking California libtard to not push for that line because deep down inside, he understands if he were to advocate for that, he would look like a monster to all the other libtards that he wants to fucking frequent and go to cocktails with and hang out with when he's not on camera.
Admits it right out. It's a form of contraception for them, which demonstrates the evil. Because if you're using abortion as a form of contraception, that is one of the highest forms of moral evil I can imagine.
Why?
If you're using abortion as a way to make your life more convenient, this makes you a bad person, definitionally.
Definitionally. Wait, why? And I don't even think it works that way. I don't think people are just like, oop, time to get a fucking another aborabo, you know? Like, no, I think people fuck up. Shit happens. And having that access is a good thing. Definitionally, when your doctor wife wants to have a baby, let's say, for example, you go down and play Switch in the basement for 3 hours. Hypothetically, in this scenario, your wife will be pregnant. Yeah, hypothetically speaking, your wife's best friend, who happens to be 6'4" and jacked, comes over and brings you the new copy of the Nintendo sports game.
If you're using abortion as a way to make your life more convenient, this makes you a bad person, definitionally. You're not doing it based on some extenuating circumstance. You're doing it just because it's convenient and you were too lazy to use contraception or because the condom failed or something. That That is a serious moral issue with you.
Wait, what? If the condom fails, that's a moral issue with you? Wait, what? So he's saying, like, even if you actually fucking took the necessary precautions and it still failed, that's your moral issue? What the fuck? He literally is saying you shouldn't have fucked, idiot. Dude, he said you're definitionally evil if the condom broke, dude. What the fuck? This is how you should treat conservatives talking about sex. Straight up. Because it's such a funny self-report. I know we get like too triggered and too mad because it's a really emotional conversation, especially if you're a woman, like, or especially if like this is, you know, a loved one is going to be impacted by this. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to just like take a deep breath and remember that like you're literally talking to someone who's never fucked. Like when you move away from like the ramifications or the repercussions of like not allowing women to have bodily autonomy for a brief moment, just to like pull yourself out of the conversation, you're literally talking to someone who's never fucked. I want to give him a wedgie. Straight up. It's like you are such a no pussy having freak, dude. Oh my God. And you want to punish everyone. Like literally everyone around you. You are such an unpleasant psycho and you want to punish every single person around you.
The fact that you want that established by the Supreme Court is madness. And it demonstrates disdain for morality, for basic decency, and most of all for the constitutional structure. This was not what the Supreme Court was meant to do. And for all those who say that the Supreme Court's legitimacy has been undermined here, no. If the Supreme Court goes this way, the Supreme Court's legitimacy has been restored because their job is to look at the Constitution's text and its history and to interpret what the words mean. It is not to do your political priors. That's not what the Constitution is meant to do. And them going back to their role would be a welcome sight. You want a restoration of the institutions in America and institutional trust? Institutions are supposed to do what they're supposed to.
Got you again, stupid leftist. You went for the wedgie, yet I was wearing no underwear and you got a handful of cheek. Checkmate, commie. Cheek mate. Oh no. Oh no.
To do. You're not supposed to have departments of health and human services that cram down puberty blockers on children. You're not supposed to have departments of Homeland Security that open the borders. And you're not supposed to have a Supreme Court of the United States that acts as a super legislature on behalf of Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden to do all of their political priors. You want trust in institutions? Restrict the institutions to doing what the institutions were meant to do. That's what this decision would do.